Are we ready to start?
Oh, our reverend knows what's up.
All right. I think we're gonna get ready here. Is the media good to go?
Yeah.
Okay, you're good to go. Everyone's good to go. Okay. Give it to you then.
Great, thanks, Alex. Welcome everyone to Food for Lane County and to our Bailey Hill warehouse. We're so grateful to Congresswoman Val Hoyle and her staff and to Partners for a Hunger-Free Oregon for your attention and concern for the planned cuts to SNAP. My name is Rebecca Sprinson and I'm the Director of Development for Food for Lane County. As you'll see looking around, our warehouse has a lot of empty racking. That's space that could be filled with essential food to serve our community. Last year, Food for Lane County distributed over 8 million pounds of food here in Lane County through a network of 150 partners and through our own food distribution programs. Since 2022, we've seen an increase of 101% in visits to food pantries. People rely on Food for Lane County when they have trouble making ends meet due to surprise bills, when they can't work due to injury or caring for a family member, or when they simply don't have enough to make it to the end of the month. Everyone in our community deserves access to the nutritious food they need to thrive. Cuts to SNAP will create a deeper emergency for families, our communities, and for food banks. SNAP is the largest anti-hunger program in the United States and helps tens of thousands of families here in Lane County access food. Cuts to SNAP will lead to children showing up to school without full bellies and our workforce choosing between putting gas in their cars and buying food. SNAP cuts will drive more people to Food for Lane County pantries at a time when our food supply is under threat as well. Our racks aren't sparse solely because demand is already high. Not only are food donations down in our community, which often happens when inflation is high, but even worse, in April, the federal government canceled a program within the USDA that purchased essential food from U.S. farmers and provided it to food banks. With the cancellation of that critical program, up to 20% of Food for Lane County's planned food supply won't ever arrive. Meat, produce, dairy, eggs, the building blocks for healthy meals aren't going to $1.86 in local economic activity. Most of those dollars are spent at grocery stores around us, and they help employ cashiers and truck drivers. Grocery stores are critical partners to Food for Lane County as well. They donate over 2 million pounds of food to SNAP is the first line of defense in our community, and it allows Food for Lane County
such great and important work alongside the SNAP program. These two programs are not replaceable with one another. They're complementary. And I'm really grateful to be here with Congresswoman Hoyle, who's been such a strong fighter for our values. I'm Alex Agdai, and I'm the SNAP policy analyst at Partners for Hunger-Free Oregon, and I'm here to tell you that when President Trump calls his plan a big, beautiful bill, and when he tells us that it's going to trim waste, slash taxes, and lift up the poor, he is wrong. If he were to step outside the marble halls of his Oval Office in Washington and into Oregon's valleys, forests, and mill towns, you would see the truth that there is no beauty in an empty cupboard. While billionaires are raising a glass to their new tax deductions, 90,000 veterans, homeless neighbors, parents, and older adults are at risk of losing their SNAP benefits if they can't find a job by January 1st of next year. While hedge fund profits are soaring, 2,793 refugees and asylees, families who fled bombs and persecution to come to our country, will be cut off from the food that our home promised them. 40,000 working families will lose $58 in groceries per month and forced to tighten their belts while the wealthy let theirs out. This is not fiscal prudence. It is moral negligence. And an economy that balances its books by emptying lunchboxes is not healthy, it is hollow. A nation that builds tax shelters for the ultra-rich while food bank shelves here are bare is not great, it is lost. In Douglas County, there are 10,000 veterans who once fought for our country and are now fighting at home to feed their families. In Wasco counties, cherries are rotting on the ground in farm fields where farmers are afraid to come to work for being deported or denied their work visas and can't even get across the border. And right here around us, these shelves are bare. Every single empty pallet, dozens of families that could be fed and were promised to be fed by the federal government. If the president left the gilded halls of the White House and walked our streets, he would know just how ugly this big, beautiful bill really is. But today, I am proud to be here with Congresswoman Hoyle with Food for Lane County. Congresswoman Hoyle went to Washington and fought this bill on behalf of Oregon's veterans, families, and food banks. She did her part. And now the burden is on us to support her and carry home the wins that we can. We cannot wait for Washington to fix what Washington broke. When the federal government will not keep its promise to Oregonians, then Oregon must make that promise come true. I'm now pleased to hand it over to Congresswoman Hoyle.
Thank you. Thank you.
So thank you for being here today. Let's be clear about what SNAP is. It's $6 a day, $2 per meal. And these cuts happen because my Republican colleagues in what was called a big, beautiful bill said that they were trying to balance the budget and be fiscally responsible. While they blew up our national debt by $4 trillion, right? Added money to the Defense Department that hasn't passed an audit in over the past 7 times they've been audited. They said that the way to balance the budget is to take $6 a day from hungry people when we know hungry children can't learn. When we know that seniors who rely on SNAP for just that little bit, and the majority of people who are getting SNAP work for a living. So we're subsidizing companies who pay low wages. And all under the guise of balancing the budget. The cruelty is the point. The richest country in the world, there is no way that we should have hungry people and that this should be a decision. Again, $6 a day. $6 a day is one of the best investments we can have in an anti-poverty program. We are feeding hungry people. Somebody said to me last week, what would happen if Jesus Christ came today and saw what was happening? The one that preached in the Bible about feeding the hungry, right? About blessed are the meek, about taking care of the children. A brown man from the Middle East. I will tell you what, not only wouldn't they listen to him, but the likelihood that he would be picked up by ICE and sent over to Alligator Alcatraz is not out of the realm of possibility. This is not right. This is not moral. This is not a good way to spend our dollars because, again, hungry children can't learn. Feeding hungry people should be one of the basic things that we do. And again, this isn't about undeserving people. People deserve to eat food. $6 a day versus massive tax breaks for the wealthiest Americans and blowing up the deficit by spending more on the Department of Defense, and that makes no sense, and those aren't the priorities that we as Americans should have. So I'm here today to say thank you. Thank you to Food for Lane County, Partners for a Hungry Free know that with people, right, to feed hungry people will affect our local farmers who are already being affected by tariffs, who are already being affected by the fact that they can't find the workforce because they're arresting them, hardworking people who are already having difficulties because of climate change and the weather. We're now going to say the government program that feeds hungry people, that buys farm fresh food, well, we're going to cancel that as well. This isn't right, this isn't just, this isn't logical, and we'll continue to fight back, but I mostly want to thank everybody here, from the people that are packing up food to the people that run this every day to make sure that people can eat so that they're not hungry. Because that's the moral, just, and right thing to do. Thank you.
Should have a few minutes for questions.
Sure.
Yeah, I can go. So what's the goal of today's presser, and are there any actionable solutions that you're working on?
So the goal of today is to let people know what's actually happening. Because I think people go through their days and they may hear, hey, there's no actual cuts for people who deserve to get benefits, but that's not true. Like, the barriers that are being put into place, whether it's access for Medicaid or it's access to SNAP food assistance, or the barriers that are being put in place by people who are trying to access government services, Social Security, veterans benefits, student loans, all of these other things. The fact of the matter is, we need to let people know what's happening. And that is why I would ask anyone who is having an issue with a federal agency, please contact my office, because we are happy to help navigate that, and also tell us the stories so that we can then explain those stories to my Republican colleagues. And we have been able to get some things changed, but also to let people know what's happening, because I think in our day-to-day lives it's very difficult to know what is real, what's propaganda. So what we try and do is just speak to people and let them know what the truth is. So we're here to speak to the truth, to say, look at these shelves, and it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Thank you.
For Rebecca, you said, right, that Food for Lane County is seeing more demand and less donations. Like, can you put that into more detail? Like, are you turning people away? How does that work?
So we provide the food that serves about 170 distribution sites around the county through all of our partner agencies. And what we hear from them week after week is, please bring us more food. We run through the supply that you give us. We simply don't have enough to serve everyone that shows up. And so the data that we gather from our partner organization says, yes, there's not adequate food flowing through our system to serve the people who need it.
Rebecca, you said in 2022 you had seen a 101% increase in visits to food pantries. Was that over the Food for Lake County sites that you just mentioned?
Yeah, just to clarify, since 2022, we've seen a 101% increase, so that's tracking visits to all of those different pantry sites that we provide food for. We've seen that percentage increase. Yeah. That was your question, right?
Yes.
This is for Val or maybe anyone as well. But since the budget cuts also affect Oregon and its budget, and are there any ways or any plans to fulfill or refill those budget cuts from maybe other resources or?
So that there's things that are happening at the state level, and I do think when we have the next revenue report that we're going to see
job being the best way around this. Unemployment here has been ticking up slowly for the past 7 months.
Right.
We've also been seeing in the last year increased demand for SNAP. What is the situation we're heading into with both the